workforce and in this digital age, that means it's time to review and potentially clean up your social media platforms. Joining me now to talk about why this is so important is President of Chick Media, Meghan Rothschild. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me.
Yeah.
Right now is really peak graduation season
Yes.
for so many students.
Yes.
And they're applying for jobs. So
First
why?
big girl and big boy jobs. Yep.
Exactly. So why is it so important to go through your social media pages and making sure they're job ready?
Yeah, I think at this point now, most employers do a preliminary search, right? So they're going to Google a name. I mean, from talking to the employers that I've met and worked with in the past, yes, everybody's sort of doing the preliminary Google of the name just to see if there's anything alarming or red flags that are out there on the internet. And so a lot of times, most times when people Google your name, it's going to link back to your social media accounts. So making sure that those are cleaned up and buttoned up is really important right now.
It's no longer just about the cover letter and the resume. It does go beyond that now.
It really does. And a lot of people, a lot of companies actually accept LinkedIn applications right now too. So a lot of times people think about when they're applying for jobs or they're pursuing a career or they're sort of, they want that little buttoned up look online. They think about LinkedIn, but they don't think about the other platforms. So it's important to have a really robust LinkedIn profile talking about all your accomplishments and things that you've done. But it's also key to make sure that Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat account, all those things are cleaned up too.
And when you're talking about cleaning them up, what should people maybe delete or hide when they are going through it?
So this is a tricky question, right? Most people assume that you want your accounts to be private and you want to sort of hide that piece of yourself that might be considered a little bit controversial or unprofessional. I'm not a fan of having private accounts. I think it's actually a red flag to most employers.
Really?
I think you actually do need to have public accounts, but the content on there needs to be, I don't want to say exclusively professional because you should infuse your personality, but it should be non-controversial stuff, right? So if you have really strong political beliefs or maybe you had a wild night one Saturday and there's, some pictures or videos of you that aren't your fondest memories, we want to take those down and make sure everything looks more on the professional side.
And you did mention, the crazy nights out or something. What if someone just poses with a wine or a beer or something like that?
I think a lot of parents tend to tell their kids, no pictures of you drinking, right? But if you're of age, you're 21 years old, you're out on a Friday night and you're having a glass of wine or you're at a brewery trying the latest beer, that's okay, right? It's okay. Everybody knows that we're social human beings and we go out and have cocktails. It's what we do in this country.
Right.
So I don't think there's any reason to pretend you're a nun, right? Like employers are going to see through that. Just make sure that you're not posting things that maybe don't shine you in the best light.
And with your social media, a lot of the times it is your personality showing through. So would you consider your social media accounts almost your brand?
Absolutely. Yeah. Social media is a real key to what we call personal branding. So that's the things that I want to be known for. What am I an expert in? What's my voice? Am I more on the humorous side? Am I more on the serious side? Those are all things that we talk about when we're thinking about a personal brand. And social media is a key communication tool to communicating that for sure.
And going from that high school or college phase into the professional workforce, how can students make that switch on social media?
Yeah, so I think, I know we're talking about graduates, but senior year is really the time where maybe you start thinking about, okay, what's going to be the content that I'm putting out there on social media? So that way you have a full year's worth of strong branded content on the internet, and you don't have to go back through and necessarily delete everything from your high school prom and things like that. We, as employers, people understand people evolve and grow. But I would say, during your senior year, or if you've graduated at this point, just go through and do a quick preliminary look. What is on here that I maybe don't want employers seeing? Take it off and then start producing content that really shows you as the expert in whatever career you want to be seen as an expert in.
So it is something that students should think ahead about, not only the job application, but also what are you portraying on social media?
Yes, and I wish, if I could go back in time and my senior year of college, start to brand myself like that on social media, I'd be so much farther ahead. So I always say to college graduates or people who are about to graduate, really start thinking about it a few months in advance.
It is interesting the times that we live in that we do have to take social media into consideration.
It's a big thing and employers are watching for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining me this morning and talking about this.
Thanks for having me.